Colleagues, good afternoon. Suspect, I don't know how we are doing in terms of attendance. Have we reached the quorum? Hello, suspect. Dr. Janse van Rensburg?
Yes, Chair.
Yes. You also sound far. Please check if your volume is okay. I'm trying to reach Suspect. I'm not too sure if maybe she has a problem hearing me. Suspect?
Chair, I don't actually see her on the participants list at this stage.
Oh, you don't see her on the participant list?
Unless she's the host.
Yeah, well, I've also checked and I don't see her name on the participant list.
Oh, okay.
I think she is the host, Chair, because Gunther is separately.
Okay.
Suspect?
Chair?
Yes. Are you experiencing a technical problem? Hello?
Sure.
I've been wanting to
Hello?
communicate. Yes, I've been wanting to communicate with you. Can you drop
Hello, Chair. I can't hear you.
No, do this. Drop the agenda first. The agenda. Just drop it.
I think Gunther flighted the chair, so Gunther is supposed to get what.
Can you drop the agenda? Can you remove the agenda from the screen, please? Right. And Suspect, can you hear me now? Peter, can you hear me?
I don't know. I can't hear him.
All right, Peter, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chair.
And all right, Gunther, you're a co-host. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Chair. I can hear you clearly, Chair.
All right. Can you call Pat, find out what that we can all hear each other, or rather one another, and it's only her who cannot hear us. Yet we can hear her.
Okay, Chair. I'll find it now. What's the problem?
Sure. Okay. Mr. Mare, good evening.
Good evening, Chair. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Cannot complain. Did you receive my message with regards to the king, your king?
Oh, well, yes, I did. Yeah.
Condolences to the nation, to the Zulu nation.
Yes. You know, the Zulus and the Afrikaners relationship.
Very similar.
No, and very similar too, eh?
Yeah.
That's true. No, thank you so much.
Very passionate about their
Hello?
culture and their people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
I
And
can't hear Uche.
and Mr. Mare, the
Yes.
meeting yesterday with last week with the industry.
Yes.
What?
Are you happy that you were able to follow through the issues?
Although I'm not muted.
I did, and thank you for that. And I think it was very important to get some of the things in the air, and that they can respond to that. So, because like I've said to them in a meeting, it's like we say in a marriage, it's now your opportunity to say something or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
So don't come in the meetings and then everything is fine, and then afterwards there's complaints. So now it's a time we are open for discussion, and they have raised matters, and it's been minuted, and the other things we have resolved some matters. So that was a good meeting.
It was a good meeting. No, I'm happy that you were able to deal with all the issues, and that the outstanding issues will be dealt with, and there's a process put in place to handle that.
I was a bit concerned that their assumptions that they work on to resolve this is still unachievable. It's still kind of a recapitalization of the NEL. And I've said that they will have to be more realistic about this, because all of us can see the signs, and we know the message from National Treasury. So we have to work together, to kind of solve this this challenge for the industry.
Yeah, you see, the DNL situation is it's getting worse by day. Eh?
Absolutely.
And you see, it's that I'm not quite certain what is in the mind of the minister responsible.
Yeah.
And you see, I understand that the challenge is budget, and and that challenge is across departments.
Yeah.
And there's just no money, and ways to bail out entities that are not performing.
But in the NEL there are some strategic units that is actually doing very well and can be salvaged, similar to what RDM has been formed from together with the NEL. Aeronautics is an exceptional part of the NEL. Some of their language systems is good, but the others, I mean, they are just not just loss-making units, and there's no ways that can be carried on. But what we have also said is that we must find a way where the industry can play a bigger role by using the IP of Department of Defense, of which Arms Corps is the custodians, and of which the NEL has been using that for quite some time. And obviously what we now see is that even some of the ex-NEL people now working in Saudi Arabia, now suddenly there's very similar product being manufactured there. So we have to, for the industry and for the Defence Force, we have to kind of try to retain those IP strategic benefits by then working with some of the industry players as well.
That would actually mean forming partnerships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
No, it's fine. We will meet with Daniel at some point.
PPPs.
Yeah, or yeah, yeah. So I think that would triple P's, yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's fine. We'll meet with Daniel at some point just to find out how they are, looking, winding themselves out of this situation.
Yeah. No,
And,
absolutely.
Yes, I'm looking at the attendance. Welcome, Alexander Björkers.
Thank you, Chair. How are you?
I'm good, yourself?
I'm fine. Is your network better today, Chair?
Come again, your pet, is it? Okay, good.
No, I say is your network better today?
Well, so far, I can't put not even 10 cents on it.
But I believe the NCOP is still busy in the sitting.
Oh, is it? There's still the NCOP, yeah?
Yes, and then they have program meeting after that. I don't know how many of them are part of the program because I know some. I'm not sure. So we are 3 now. We are only 3 now.
Yeah, and but is there NA colleagues that I don't see? Mafanya, Modise, and Mutle are not on the system yet.
But can we proceed without the NCOP because it's a joint meeting?
Well, we will proceed on the basis that any decision we take would have to be ratified at a meeting when we are all present, or we have a quorum.
Okay.
Yeah, and so just proceed on those bases.
How is the Northern Cape doing, Honourable Björkers?
Now we are fine, Honourable Marais. I was listening to you about the Afrikaners and the Zulus, but you did not speak about the Khoi and the San.
Absolutely. No.
Yeah, we are proud.
Absolutely. I've listened. I think it was last night, to someone on the Afrikaans television, and where this lady was saying that she's so proud, a Khoi, that she doesn't want to be anything else but a Khoi. So the way that she has spoken so passionately, I thought to myself, my goodness, that's a proud lady. That's very, very proud of her history and all the development. So it's sad. Chairperson is sad about that accident yesterday in Pretoria in Swartkop.
Oh, what happened?
Where those 2 pilots died. Very, very.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's how many people are on the?
2. It was one of the museum aircraft. So obviously it's an old aircraft, and then they crashed and both died. And seasoned, very, very seasoned pilots, and both of them retired, but I mean they are still active flying. So yeah, it's very, very sad.
Oh, sad indeed. Oh, okay. I did not hear it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, colleagues. Look, I think let's start. Let's start on the basis that who will then ratify it at the next meeting. That meeting will be early in the new year, sorry, in the new term. And we the CJ Ops is already on the system to take us through the letter of the president regarding the DRC deployment. We received the letter early this week, and we then said that because we will not be meeting like this until after the 3rd of May. So it will be about 2 months from now, and very late after the matter was tabled. And then we agreed that we should let's put it on the agenda today and deal with it whilst it is still very fresh on the ATC. And we are grateful that the general was able to avail himself within the short notice. I think the team tried to get hold of him, was it yesterday, to check if he would be present to take us through to brief us on the letters. So I'm happy that they found him and they agreed to be present today. Of course, he was going to be present, and but to assist the minister in taking us through the letters. I'm told that the minister is not available. He was in KZN attending the funeral service at Nongoma, and it finished around lunchtime. I think it was after lunch, and I doubt if she would be able to join us. If she does, it's fine, but I think Chief Ops is mandated to do the task and is equal to it. Colleagues, okay, the meeting is not correct yet, and we welcome all of you. And the agenda, you can see, colleagues, on the agenda that initially we had the item on the reserve force system. They wanted to update us on that system that they were developing, but after receiving the letter from the minister requesting that the matter be stood down, and I redrafted the agenda, because I found the request of the minister to be reasonable, and I think on the letter, I'm not too sure if the letter was circulated. Was the letter circulated to all of you colleagues?
A letter from the minister, no.
From
no,
the minister. Oh, yes.
No.
Okay. So the minister says the Reserve Force Council was scheduled to appear before the JSCD to present, amongst other things, matters on the updated Reserve Force service system. Having engaged the Reserve Force Council and the planners in the Department of Defense, it is apparent that there is no consensus on this document, and it has not yet been presented to the planners in the department or to the Council of Defense. It further appears that there are other parallel processes in play, and as a result, I believe it is proper that the Reserve Force Council proposal should first be discussed internally to see if it is possible to find alignment between the various proposals, and then present a finalized document to the Council of Defense in the first week after the Easter weekend. I thereby request that the JSCD postpones engaging on the document, which has been distributed to you until the second week in April, when the matter could return to the JSCD as a document which has been properly canvassed within the SANDF before the presentation to the JSCD. I apologize for any inconvenience caused by this late request for postponement. And the colleagues, that's a letter we received on the 17th of March. So in response to this letter, I then reviewed revised the agenda for today. And then there was this item that came up, ATC early this week, the letter, the deployment letter. I then felt that instead of postponing the meeting altogether, and let's put this one on the agenda. And also given that we will not, if we don't, it means we'll see it after 2 months. And so colleagues, do agree with this proposal? And then the next item is consideration of an adoption of minutes. Can you comment?
Yeah. So from my side, one must be pragmatic about these matters. And although the report from the reserve force would have been very, very important, we know that, you know, we are reliant on them. It has been reported many, many, many times. So as long as that doesn't take too long, because otherwise we might not, you know, fulfill our responsibility. So as long as they put emphasis to finalize it on their side very quickly, so that we can then consider that, then that is supported. And obviously the letter by the president, I think it's a right decision from you to submit it to us. And yes, we can do that. So I support your decision.
Okay. No, thank you very much, colleagues. And can we note apologies? Are there any apologies? Of course.
Yes, Chair.
For noting, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Chair. There's the co-chair is with the ad hoc committee on Section 100 in the Northwest.
Okay. That's the only apology.
Yeah. And Miss Bartlett had requested to be released at 7 because she has to attend a NCOP programming committee.
I think will be done by then. Thank you so much. And I will aim to finish this meeting at 7 o'clock. Yeah. All right, colleagues. Right. Let me welcome the General Maponya, to this meeting, and really thank him for responding at short notice. And I knew how efficient he is, and that he would swing into action. And it doesn't matter when you invite him to come and do the presentation. Thank you very much, General. You will then introduce the team if you are in the company of a team, and then launch into the presentation. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Chair and Co-Chair of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense, Honorable Kaba and Honorable Nchabeleng, I just want to, from the onset, apologize on behalf of my Minister, Honorable Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Honorable Nosibuwe Mapisa Ngakula, and Deputy Minister, Honorable Thabang Makwetla, who actually attended the King's funeral, as well as the Chief of the National Defense Force, who is also amongst those who were down there. Honorable members of the committee, I just want to thank this appropriate oversight committee which is formed in line with Section 201, subsection 4 of our Constitution. And respectfully so, I just want to indicate that we were more than willing, at least for a change, managed to come to the Joint Standing Committee on Defense in time prior to the actual deployment, which when I was told that I must come, I felt that respectfully so, I will honor that call, because you said in the last meeting that we must attempt to come to this oversight body before the actual deployment date, and that is what I'm grateful to the oversight committee for, that we are here today at least before the actual date. Chair, allow me to try and share. I am struggling to get it right. PLO will do it. I thought.
I don't know what's happening on the screen. I suppose that is looking for the letter. Are you looking for the letter?
No, I'm looking for the presentation, Chair. I prepared the presentation. The letter is there, but the presentation that I prepared, I want to quickly go through that presentation because it makes life easier.
General, were you expecting us to flight it, or you were going to do it on from your side?
I've got both this side. I also asked Mr. Nkabinde to assist me in loading it.
Okay. And yes, Mr.
Chair,
Nkabinde?
we forwarded it to Peter Daniels as well as Mr. Mangai. They should be able to upload it.
Okay, sure. But what is on the screen is an ATC. Colleagues, what are you looking for? You should look for the presentation that was sent to us from the office of the general. Can you drop the presentation that is on the screen now?
PLO is telling them that they have.
Kuntia.
The next thing.
Kuntia.
I'll drop it down, Chair.
Are you, please, can you listen, can you attend, can you be attentive, please? You seem to be, you know, everywhere else and not with us.
By controller from Kako. It also put this around.
Are you having a difficulty dropping the presentation that is on the screen right now? Can you enable the general to do it from his side then?
Okay. This is.
Mr. Ngabine? Hello? Hello?
Yes, are you saying something? Oh, I see you're on the phone. No, it's fine. You're on the phone talking to your IT specialist, I think. Sispet,
Chair,
did you receive the presentation?
no, Chair,
You didn't. Okay.
no.
Here we are.
All right. Yes, we can see it, but it's multi-screened. Can you make it one big screen?
I think they must go down to right at the bottom where that's it. There it is.
Oh, yes, there, yes. All right. My apologies, General, for this. Over to you, sir. I think you are now on the screen.
Chairperson, maybe just before the general start, you've now, touch on a point with Pat again, and this is now the second time in about a week that we do not get information, and then at the day, then there's kind of confusion whether it was sent, whether it was not sent. Somewhere along the line in the next term, we will probably have to design or develop a system from our side where maybe Pat or in the portfolio committee that we approach them like the end of the previous week, so that, because otherwise we always get the stuff and we can't prepare ourselves properly for this meetings.
Yes, I hear you. I will have to investigate this, Mr. Mare, and because Peter says the document was sent to us via the office of the secretary, and but she says she had not received it. I think there is a problem that we need to attend to. And then last week, Peter called me with evidence and supporting that he had sent the document to Sispet, but I could see it from Peter's email, Peter Nkabinde's register of emails. But when Sispet says she had not received it, I don't know where the communication breakdown is. I think I have to look at that, because we blamed the CEO for Armsco and for something that was not his making, but it's just a communication breakdown between Kabinde and Pat. So I have to investigate that. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
So yes. Okay, it's fine. I'll attend to it. General, my apologies. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry, Chair. Chair, can I get a chance, Chair? Yesterday.
Sorry, Sispet. I said I will investigate that and come and report to the meeting.
Let's proceed now. Yes, yeah. I agree with
Thank you so much. All right, over to you, General.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My apologies that there had been that mix up. We really would like to take the committee through this presentation. It's a very short presentation which is structured, Chair, in a very easy way. I'll just touch on the aim and then come up with the background to the renewal of the mandate and the mandate itself. I will also touch slightly on the forces that are deployed within the minutes as such, and then I will also raise the estimated budget for the deployment, Chair, and then conclude with the comments and clarifications from honorable members of the Joint Standing Committee. Chair, the slide 3 is purely just a singular aim that we are supposed to brief the Joint Standing Committee with regard to the deployment in Mistra as it has been extended from the 1st of April 2021 until the 31st of March 2022. I was excited that at least we managed to come to the Joint Committee on this particular day, just days long before the actual deployment on the presidential minute. Chair, slide 4 and 5 gives just a background that touches on the involvement of the Republic of South Africa in the multilateral organization, that is in particular the UN. And the resultant, Chair, is that our political decisions had put South Africa with one obligation to participate in the UN peace support operations as troop contributing country. Chair, the RSA became part of the United Nations Stabilization Mission, MONUSCO, in the DRC since 1999. And the mandate for this deployment has been extended, as I indicated in the aim, but it used to be extended on a yearly basis since 1999. Chair, this slide is just reiterating on our understanding that when the UN make pronouncement by means of a note verbal, it cascades down to us. And whilst we are aware that the UN has indicated intentions to progressively downscale the footprint in the DRC, we, however, continued to prepare, and we still have troops on the ground. And that is the basis that this mandate had been extended so as to cover the entire deployment period until when the UN decides that now they are scaling down completely and leaving the civilian component in the DRC. Chair, slide 6 is purely an indication in terms of what the Commander-in-Chief, the constitutional imperative and the President authorization mandate in terms of Section 2C, where in this case it states that only the President, as head of the National Executive, may authorize the employment of the Defense Force in fulfillment of an international obligation. That is the essence of this mandate as per subsection C. Chair, slide 7 is just continuing with the mandate, indicating that the Presidential Minute number 64 of 2020 extends that mandate of the SANDF for the deployment to the DRC of personnel not more than 957 members and associated equipment in the DRC. So this is the confirmation of the total number and the total duration of the deployment. Chairs and members of the committee, slide 8 just presents a picture of the composition of the units that are currently in the DRC and that are covered within this mandate as approved on the 16th of March 2021. So, Chair and members of the committee, the extension of the mandate to deploy not more than 957 members will only be from the 1st of April 2021 until the 31st of March 2022. Chair, this slide 8, presents this picture. And in this case, we've got the command and support element. That is the unit that comprises of 26 members. Other than these 26 members, there is a composite, the tactical intelligence unit, which was brought to bear because we needed the necessary intelligence so as to enable the Force Intervention Brigade to operate with the necessary intelligence. This is the new development that came as a result of the negotiations of the SADC to say, for us to be able to operate, let there be an enabler in the form of an intelligence unit. And this is the 40 that are currently deployed. The third element within that force, Chair and members, honorable members of the UN Standing Committee, is the composite helicopter unit. That is the aviation unit that's currently having as the workshop our Oryx and the Rifle that currently we are concluding the letter of assist. The composite helicopter unit consists of 155 members. Other than that, there is an element that is responsible for supporting all our air operations in the form of an airfield crash and rescue element, which comprises of 14 members. Amongst those members that are there, it is the medical evacuation team. This is the medical task group that comprises of 12 members that supports our effort in terms of medical support and evacuation of the injured. The bulk of the forces, Honorable Chair and members of the committee, is the Force Intervention Brigade, which is known as the FIB. This element had been downscaled. We are currently mandated to deploy 708. This was as a result of the requirement to make a headway for both the tactical intelligence unit as well as the additional element of the quick reaction force, which is an issue that was brought to bear by the United Nations. So the Force Intervention Brigade component was brought down to 708. Other than this element of the Force Intervention Brigade, there is an element of the External Joint Verification Mechanism, EJVM, which has 2 members. This is the entity that monitors developments along the DRC and its neighbors, and it is comprised of elements from both the neighboring states and falls within the ambit of the UN in terms of the verification and monitoring. So these are only 2 members that we have deployed that are part of that entity. Chair, slide 9 is a breakdown of the estimated budget for the entire extension period, which the presidential minute stipulated that it should not exceed 818,504,388. And that, if I may break down, it is broken down to the HR cost for 478 million and goods and services for 342 million, as well as limited capital assets for about 1.2 million. Chair, that is in short what had been entailed in the presidential minute as I was instructed to come and brief the Joint Standing Committee of tonight. I am ready and open for further interaction, and I will endeavor to respond to issues for clarification. Honorable Chair, I submit.
Thank you very much, General. This is our contribution. Which other countries are contributing to this objective?
Honorable Chair, the FIB consists of Malawi, Tanzania, and the Republic of South Africa. Currently, there is a new arrangement in terms of the reconfiguration of the FIB, whereby some of the staff officers are coming from other non-SADC countries. But I think the most critical issue, Honorable Chair, is that we are 3 SADC countries that are contributing in this effort. I submit.
Thanks. And in terms of the total deployment, do you have the idea?
Honorable Chair, the total deployment is the 3 battalions. It means South Africa provides a battalion group, as well as Tanzania also provides a battalion, and Malawi provides a battalion. And in total, we form this brigade with a combined staff that supports that brigade that is coming from all the 3 countries. So the staff officers are drawn from all the 3 countries. And currently, with the bolstering of the FIB headquarters, we have had members that are coming from other non-SADC countries, or rather non-troop contributing countries that are part of the headquarters of the FIB.
In your view, General, for how long are we going to be stuck to this arrangement? At what point would you say, or would the United Nations say, and we've completed our mandate?
Honorable Chair, I would like to indicate that that decision had already been taken in the renewal of the MONUSCO mandate. The United Nations had already started to give a planned progressive drawdown of the forces, which is going to go on by next year, 2022. They are going to revise once again as to whether there is still a requirement for the armed element, or limited armed element will remain. However, the emphasis in the drawdown is for the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo to slowly start taking full responsibility of areas that had been stabilized, and allow their police and the governance authorities to start putting structures in place and continue with the lives as managed by the Congolese themselves.
Thank you very much. You have answered me adequately, General. Colleagues, over to you. Let me just check who has raised his hand. Mr. Murray, your hand is up.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, General, for the presentation. Obviously, when we analyze or evaluate this budget, one cannot compare that to usual or normal budgets. For instance, HR versus the total, because we know that there's total different rates that we're talking about, because they are doing service outside South Africa's borders and in very, very dangerous conditions. However, I want to ask, you haven't touched on the fact that this number that is now approved is kind of considerably lower than what we have now at the moment. If I'm correct, last year the President approved 1,165 members strong, compared to now 957, which is a reduction of 208. So I was wondering whether that is already an indication of the process that the UN has started to reduce numbers. And then secondly, I want to find out that 208 cut. Where in what section, if you go back to slide 8, where you have indicated, those different groups and the numbers that we've got there, whether you can indicate in which category, that 208 was basically cut from, because the one thing that we know that they have tried in the past, and that is to use some arguments for their leverage to try to phase out the refolk, which we have said also as a committee, no ways, you're not going to do that. So obviously, when you look at the composite helicopter unit of 155 members, it'll be interesting for me to know, what was that, what is it at the moment, and what what will it be then from 1st of April? So in other words, with that 208 kind of reduced on all those sections, or is it, for instance, just the Force Intervention Brigade that was cut by that number? Because that will have a significant, I think, impact on our involvement. And the one thing that we are afraid, if they are reducing the composite helicopter unit to such an extent that, we are now forced to withdraw either the Oryx or the Refolk, or some of both. And we know that they want to bring in the, the MI-28, or that helicopter that they want to use there rather than our REFOT. So that was just, you know, to get clarity from your side on that. Thank you very much.
Okay, General, over to you, and you'll indicate when, for instance, the information cannot be shared in public. Then we can arrange when you can share it with us on camera, because we're dealing with security issues. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you,
Chair.
So, there's
Chair,
another
I also
hand.
raise my hand.
Oh, yes, my apologies. Oh, I did not see it. Mr. Ryder?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. No problem. And sorry, General, to butt you off, but rather give you one chance to answer than have a back and forth. And yeah, I think my question is partly covered by Mr. Murray, but just in terms of the numbers, the reduction in numbers specifically, do we feel that the reduction in numbers is still sufficient to ensure the optimal functioning of the people up there? So, you know, are we seeing an equal, in terms of ratio, reduction in command and support as there is to Force Intervention Brigade? Are we seeing that there's, you know, sufficient medevac personnel to take care of the FRBs, etc.? So just to make sure that we still have a force or a presence that is able to look after itself and is able to keep our personnel as safe as we possibly can. Understanding, you know, going into the situation, no one can be assured of safety, but we can give them the best chance that we possibly can. The other question, Chairperson, is possibly unfair for the General and will relate to the reimbursement that we receive from the United Nations, and you know how the process has been. But I think that would be better placed at the Minister's feet rather than the General. And I note the Minister's not here this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Even if that question, Mr. Ryder, is not answered today, I know we'll deal with it when we deal with the budget sometime next that other week, that other month. Sorry, that is in May. Over to you, General.
That'll be the select committee, not the joint standing, Chair.
Oh yeah, no, you are right. But if he has the answer, is good and well. But if it does not have it, we'll find a way of getting the thing and communicate it to all members of the standing committee. Over to you, General.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, honorable members of the committee. Allow me to start off by the first question raised by Honorable Umare with regard to numbers. The reduction in numbers is twofold. It is also in line with the drawdown of the UN, but at the same time, partially it also was accommodative of other elements that were to be brought into the FIB. I just want to confirm that though it might sound insensitive, but the element that at the moment was cut initially, it was from this element that we call SANDF spec, which is a framework. The first part that was reduced, which was replaced by other entities within the UN forces, was our military police component. There had been a company of military police which was requested not to be extended, and that is the first element that was brought back that made the numbers to be reduced. The second element that is earmarked for further reduction, which we looked at, and we also indicated our wish that instead of withdrawing them. We will rather put them outside the scope of the UN and get them to continue to support our composite helicopter unit. This is the element that is the ground support, the cargo handlers that were on the ground to assist with any form of cargo handling that is coming to the UN. So the UN had indicated that this element's presence is not going to be welcomed as of June. So by implication, these are currently the two entities. However, I want to hastily indicate that coming back to the issue that was also raised in terms of whether this is not going to impact on our ability to discharge our mandate. We have observed that the current requirements and the complexion of the conflict, the conflict is dynamic, and we will still be required in this period to provide support and protection to the civilians. We have now been informed by the UN that part of the bolstering of the functioning of the FIB is the creation of an entity that is known as the Quick Reaction Force. We have lost part of the members that are there. However, we will still come back and make a presentation probably to indicate the establishment, because we are going to be part of the Quick Reaction Force. So our numbers may at the end come back to the original numbers, but that will come as a result of the presentation that will be made both to this August House as well as to the Commander-in-Chief. So in short, Honorable Chair, the ability of the FIB to discharge its mandate will still remain, and we are bolstering it. That is the reason now that we are having the Tactical Intelligence Unit and the Geospatial Unit that is being provided by Tanzania, which is also to enhance our intelligence collection capability, which is critical in the success of the mission. Because if the operation is intelligence driven, at least we can focus our effort towards where they are needed most. Unlike when we are going out there blind, it's like getting into the ring blindfolded, and you keep on throwing punches in the wild, hoping that you will catch the opponent. So in this case, our ability to conduct operations had been enhanced by these two entities that I've mentioned. Honorable Chair, I think coming to the question of reinvestment, reinvestment is based on the status of unit requirement, and that is the memorandum of understanding that the country enter into with the United Nations. So for whatever contribution that the country puts in, it is compensated in line with what we have put on the ground, both for the personnel and for the equipment that we have fielded in the mission. So the process in terms of reinvestment, it is calculated on the scale that is negotiated on a year-to-year basis. We have had currently a conference that is known as the C34. Please, Honorable Chair, don't ask me what C34 stands for. It is an acronym that the United Nations had given to a conference that discusses the required forces in the peacekeeping environment. So we just concluded one which was virtual because of the COVID, but at the same time, we have taken part in the negotiations of the forces that are required in the deployment areas. So that negotiation includes the level of reinvestment, and it is negotiated in an open forum. So, Chair, I don't know. I was just attempting to respond to issues that Honorable Ryder was saying it might be above my payroll. So I have attempted, even though it's above my payroll, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I did. Thank you so much. There's only one question that Mr. Marais' question is on the Refurbishment and the debate around it.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Allow me to indicate that we have found each other with the UN that it is not acceptable. South Africa wouldn't allow that our forces can remain there unprotected. And one of the potent weapon systems is the Refurbishment. So we have since agreed with the UN that we are not going to repatriate the Refurbishment. Suffice to say that that agreement had been signed, and we said we will honor it in the way that we have agreed. I don't want to bore this committee chair with the details of the agreement, but the United Nations had acceded that for the protection of our forces, whether we get reimbursement or at whatever level, but as long as our members had been protected, because what is important, Honorable Chair, is force protection, and force protection implies that we have to look after our people, even if they are under the United Nations. They still remain our children, and therefore we've got a responsibility to look after them. So that is the reason, Honorable Chair, that we found each other with the UN to say, yes, indeed, you are not going to withdraw the Refurbishment. So the reduction in numbers does not include the Refurbishment and the withdrawal of the other assets that hadn't been touched as yet. The drawdown will be on more salient issues, like identify the areas where there is stability, relative stability. The DRC, it's instructed or it's required to start putting governance structures, because it doesn't help that you stabilize an area and you withdraw, and when you withdraw, there are no governance structures that actually take over that function and continue to enable people's lives to carry on under normal circumstances. I submit, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I don't see any other hand. And the President entrusted the soldiers in the hands of the Chief of the Defense Force, and the Chief of the Defense Force tasked the CJ Ops with coordination and deployment. Each time, after listening to General Mapanya presenting on the letters of the President, I get comfort that our men and women in blue, in brown, are in good hands. And colleagues, is that your feeling as well?
Chairperson, from my side, I've said it many a times. When I have visited the DRC, our soldiers in 2018 was part of our delegation. I mean, that if that doesn't change your mind totally, you will never change your mind, because there you get respect for the leaders and for the soldiers. So there's no doubt that they're doing a marvelous work. And I think what we have tried to do in the 6th Parliament is to see how we can improve this logistical support and other support to our soldiers, like boots, like the C-130s that is now more regularly flying to the DRC because there are now three serviceable. Things like that is very important for our soldiers. So we have got good leaders there. We have got excellent pilots there and engineers there. The only thing that was missing is this improved support from South Africa, and I think there we have played so far a very important role, and I'm sure the General will acknowledge that. But we are not where we want to be because we still need to accomplish a couple of things for them to feel really comfortable with the improved support service from South Africa. Chairperson, while we're on this point, and I know this is maybe not about this specific deployment, but last year we have always received all the deployment approvals from the President, also Operation Copper, which is in the Mozambican Channel, and also the border Operation Corona. I see we have only received Operation Mistral, so I'm not sure what is happening in regard to those two other deployments and approval for deployments. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. Can we conclude on this one and then check if the General has some information on the matters that you are raising, Mr. Mare? I'm proud. I'm really a proud South African. And I think your contribution to this exercise makes me even more proud. And thank you very much, General. And on the other two missions that Mr. Mare has spoken about, when are they up for renewal? Are you going to come back to us at any time soon?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members of the committee. The two issues raised, we touched previously on the Corona aspect. When Corona is extended, it is within what you had mandated us already. So Corona mandate had been already signed over the medium term, but you have given us that mandate, Honorable Chair. But with regard to OPCOPA, the renewal of OPCOPA had already been prepared, and the Honorable Minister of Defense is handling the matter. If it is so required that we prepare a similar presentation, we will be guided, and the Honorable Minister of Defense and military veterans will instruct us as such, and respectfully so, we respect this oversight body, and we will not hesitate to come and present anything that you will instruct my minister to bring to the table. I submit that should that requirement be sent to my minister, we will respond promptly to the requirement. Thank you. I submit.
Thank you very much, General. Colleagues, I think we let's thank the General for his presentation today, and good luck on your mission, General. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attendance. Hello, who's that?
Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Chair. My hand has been up for some time again. Chair, yes, I just wanted to add to what Mr. Murray was saying earlier on, and to wish the deployees well on this task that lays before them, and to ask that the General conveys the support of this committee to the members that are being deployed, and I wish that they all return in good health. And I was wondering, Chair, if we as a committee could resolve to put such a comment in a letter to the deployees, or to the command that will be overseeing this, just to give them our best wishes. Because I do think Mr. Murray was 100% correct. We are very proud of the work that they're doing while they're up there. Thank you, Chair.
I think, yes, thank you very much. I think you are making a good proposal. We will draft that letter and share it amongst us, even if it means it carries the signature of all committee members. We'll see to the feasibility of that, and then send it to the team via the chief of the SANDF. All right, colleagues, thank you very much. And thank you very much, General. We appreciate your being with us. Colleagues, can you then take off the presentation? General,
thank you, Honorable Chair. We really appreciate the support that we receive from this oversight body, and I will convey the message. However, I will wait for the formal appreciation that will be coming from our political oversight body. We really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, General. Thank you so much.
I throw smoke.
Yes, you are excused. All right, colleagues, we can then move to the next item. That item is the minutes. Can you just flight the minutes? I think we have only one set of minutes for consideration tonight. All right, it's minutes of the meeting of the 25th of February this year. On the agenda was the consideration and adoption of the consolidated report of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense on engagement with SANDF, South African Defense Industry. And the two was the consideration and adoption of the report on the joint oversight visit to the selected military bases in Gauteng and to selected land line borders from the 27th to the 29th of November, and the adoption of the minutes. Colleagues, this is the report. Attendance. Just finished the attendance. And yes, I think we are done. Mr. Murray, I owe you an apology on arising from this meeting engagement. All right. So this was the consideration of the report on our engagement with SADC, with SADC, South African Defense Industry. All right, go down. Any correction, colleagues? Go down the whole page.
Oh, you owe me an apology, you say?
Yes, I do. A big one.
Oh, okay.
Third page, right, on the third page. And then on the fourth page. And on the fifth page. And then on the last page. Oh, this is the last page. This was the last. This is the last page. Colleagues, are there any corrections?
Not from my side, sir. Thank you.
Not from your side. Thank you very much. Just to report to you as to what has happened since the adoption of this report. One, the report on our visit to the selected bases in Gauteng and the borderline was sent to Parliament and was exited. So it's now on the papers of Parliament. So it's off our hands. And then the second report on the no, I'm confusing issues. Can you go right up to the top? Right up to the top so that I don't confuse issues. Right to the top. Right. Okay. We had these two reports for adoption, and so we concluded the first one. That is on our engagement with the South African defense industry, and was signed off and sent to Parliament, and Parliament 80 seated. It was 80 seat. All right. The second one was adopted subject to us getting a legal opinion on how far back must we go in looking into the matters that were raised. You recall that the issue with one military hospital, especially the ramp that has been going on for a very long time. And there was a recommendation for a forensic investigation into that. We went there, we saw for ourselves that somehow those who were given the task of renovating the first floor dropped the ball somehow. And upon so we then said we adopted subject to us checking how far back do we go with investigating into it. I think what was put on the table was an investigation from the 2006 to 2015, if my memory serves me well. And I have since gone back to the staff just to check which department is responsible for this function, and it came back that the team came back and said it was Public Works. Of course, the Department of Defense is a client department. And then the next question is whether AG ever reported on this in any of their report since during the period in question, and the team couldn't find any mention in the AG's report. And then the third question I asked the team to addressed was how much in total was spent, during the period in question. And the team came back. They could only, upon coming back, they could only find 3 years. I think 3 years. I think it's 2016, 2017, and 2017, 2018. Let me just check. Am I correct that you could give me? All right. I think William said, oh yes, in the annual report 2011-2012 on page 16, and the 2012-2013, and the total project cost was 420 million. I think, 420 million. And they say if one includes the estimated expenditure of 12 million in 2013, total expenditure by the end of 2013 was 308 million against a total project cost of 420.5 million. And then 2015, 29.1 million contract with Techura Architects, Pty Ltd, and for multi-professional consultant team for the refurbishment and upgrading project of military hospital first floor and additional requirements in 2015. And so, in other words, that was the sum that was budgeted for in that year, 2015, 25 million rand. And but we don't know how much of this 29 million rand was spent. And I think in response to a question, I don't know who asked, I can't remember who asked the question. And the minister said the financial implications of the delay in completing the refurbishment of one military hospital amounts to 103.5 million from April 2017 to 31 October 2017, and projected to 165 million rand to the financial year 2017 and 2018. So essentially, we don't have the composite figure of how much was budgeted, for this exercise, and of that, how much was actually spent and actually achieved during the period. So that's the investigation that have been seized with since the last time. Number one, to check which department must shoulder the blame, and it's clear that Public Works must shoulder the blame because this predates the formation of the Defence Works formation. Correct, yeah, it predates that. So they were not involved. So it's Public Works. And then two is the budget involved for the period. So this is the information we could get, but obviously it's not all that was spent on the thing. So and then whilst doing the investigation, we picked up that in the report that was presented to this committee, to the portfolio committee, was it last week, Mr. Murray? I think it was last week. It's a report by the military police and the Inspector General.
Yeah.
They reported that a forensic investigation was in fact commissioned into this exercise, and one military hospital. And we don't know what the nature of that, the nature of the forensic and what it was looking for, and that they've concluded and they filed the report. Is now with the principals, and now that we were not aware that a forensic investigation has already been commissioned. We also don't know what this forensic, what were the terms of reference for this forensic investigation. But we can only get that when they report to us when we call them to do so. That is even before we take the matter further. On that score, I request that we drop any reference to forensic investigation from the report, and then that will then pave the way to release the report and to be ATC'd by Parliament. And then when we meet next, we'll then call for the department to brief us on the forensic. And if we think we still need some more information into it, we'll make a call then when we already know how much ground has been covered by the forensic. and then we decide then whether we still need more ground to be covered, or we are satisfied with the ground that has been covered already. And do I get your concurrence, colleagues?
Chairperson, yes, from my side, yeah, I'm glad that there is a forensic report. Obviously, it's important that we get briefed on that. And if I listen to what you have said, I think you have said that the forensic investigation was to, what was it, 2016, 2013 that you've indicated. We just know that, and that was my experience in the previous term, I think it was 2016, 2017, 2018, it was indicated that they need a R1 billion to complete the project, and you were present the other day when we were at one military hospital. They indicated to us it's still R1 billion that they require, whilst millions and millions have been spent since 2017 and 18. So yes, but that is the next step. So that is once we get that forensic report and we peruse that and consider that, then we might be satisfied, or we might say, okay, what happened post that, and try to indicate that. But for the moment, yes, I'll support you.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, any objection to that? Mr. Ryder?
Can I just ask if there's an indication of a time frame on this? Because, you know, if we withdraw comments about a thing and then say, you know, we're going to withdraw those pending the submission of the forensic report, should we not put a time restriction on that, that we can at least follow it up, or have some sort of a follow-up in the program, that this thing doesn't end up falling through the cracks?
Yes. Can we do this? I note what you are saying, Mr. Ryder. Pat, can you slot in the program for the next term a presentation, a full presentation on one military hospital? And then once we have received that presentation, and then the next step would be to call for a presentation on the findings of their investigation into one military hospital. How is that, colleagues? I'm trying to do it incrementally. First, getting a full presentation from the department. I know we were there and we were giving a presentation, but that presentation was just an introduction, and to say this is what happened. But can I get your concurrence that as a first step is to get a full report, and then that will be followed by a report on the forensic, because a forensic would be focusing on a part, maybe not all the floors. Maybe we're focusing on the first floor, when in actual fact we need the presentation on the whole building, you know, over the period, a ramp on the whole building over the period. And then, of course, they will mention in their presentation that in relation to the first floor, there was a forensic, if it was in relation to the first floor. And then we'll then call for a report on the forensic, so that we move from the general to the specific. Do I get your concurrence?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Okay. So you'll have it in the program. The program will be adopted on the first on the 4th of May next year. We're still in the making. Colleagues, thank you very much for your time, and until we meet again.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you all. Well done.
No, but before you run away, colleagues, before you run away, I actually wanted to say I think I could have handled the meeting better the previous time, and when we're discussing which issue, I think we're discussing the NDIC, what you call the report on our engagement with the industry, defense industry. And it's just that in mind I had a particular approach, and Mr. Mare and had a different approach. My approach was that, okay, for matters arising will be dealt with at a meeting with the industry. But Mare thought that we needed to unpack the issues on our own so that when we go there, we are well prepared for a discussion and with the industry. And yes, but the two positions, in my view, were not mutually exclusive. It's just that we were also taking the issue of time into account. Mr. Maret, do you want to make a comment on that one?
No, I mean, we have differed. I think, obviously I've tried that my bona fides was right in terms of how I see it. And as long as we register that and we deal with that at the right time, I've just experienced so often over the last couple of years and terms in Parliament that sometimes, when you do not note things and at least note that in the minutes, it gets lost. And then afterwards, when you suddenly come then in confrontation, I want to be prepared. I want us to look at and even play devil's advocate. Devil's advocate often means that, what you are saying is not necessarily the truth, but you are trying to unpack it so that you put it together and then you know exactly what you are talking about, what are the things that is a threat, what is the opportunities, where are the weaknesses. So kind of a SWOT analysis and say, okay, now we know it crossed all over the show. We know exactly what is going on and we understand the challenges. And that was my approach from my experience in Parliament over years. So that was not in any way trying to undermine you or whatever.
Okay.
I just have got the way that I prepare myself and that I feel that I must deal with all these challenges as well.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm sure next time we will handle it better, and, so that we have our expectations somehow aligned. Yeah. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Okay. If that was your apology, I accept it.
Thank you so much. Okay, then, bye, colleagues. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ngozi.
Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yebo, Selembe.